You wake up. For a fleeting moment there is silence, a clean slate, and then it begins. The invasion. The anxieties about the day ahead, the regrets from the day before, the endless to-do list, the siren song of your phone buzzing on the nightstand. Before your feet even touch the floor, the battle has been joined, and you are already on the defensive. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not in the boardroom, it is not in the gym, and it is not with your competition. The greatest battle of your life is fought and won every single day in the 6 inches between your ears. This is the truth that 99% of people will never grasp. They spend their entire lives trying to control the external world, their job, their finances, their relationships, while their internal world, their own mind, runs in a state of absolute chaos. They are a ship without a captain, tossed about by the violent waves of impulse, distraction, negative self-talk, and emotional reactivity. They lose the day before it even truly begins. This audiobook is your declaration of war against that chaos. It is your training manual for becoming the undisputed master of your own mind. We are going to dismantle the myth that focus, discipline, and a winning mindset are genetic traits you are either born with or you are not. That is a lie, a convenient excuse for mediocrity. A winning brain is not born, it is built. It is trained, conditioned, and hardened through deliberate daily practice. It is a skill, and like any skill, it can be mastered. You are going to learn how to train your brain to win, not just on the good days when you feel motivated and inspired. You will learn to win on the hard days, the days you are tired, the days you are discouraged, the days you don't feel like it. That is the difference between an amateur and a professional. The amateur only performs when the conditions are perfect. The professional performs because it is Tuesday. They have trained their brain to execute, regardless of the circumstances. This is your path to becoming a professional at the game of life. We will give you the mental frameworks, the neurological triggers, and the daily protocols to transform your brain from your greatest enemy into your most powerful ally. You will learn to architect an environment of ruthless focus, to forge an unbreakable sense of resilience, to reclaim your motivation from the cheap dopamine traps of the modern world, and to master the internal dialogue that either builds you up or tears you down. Stop hopping for a good day. Hope is not a strategy. Start building one. The power to win every single day already resides within you. It is locked inside your own mind, waiting for a commander to step up and take charge. This is your commission. The training starts now. The principles in this audiobook are the foundation for a life of victory and control. To ensure you stay on this path and continue to receive the hard-hitting truths you need to win, subscribe to this channel right now. Don't be part of the 99% who consume information and do nothing. Be the 1% who commits, acts, and transforms their mind. Subscribe now and let's begin the work. And if you find value by the end of this video, please leave a meaningful comment to keep motivating us to make content like this. Chapter 1: The Battlefield Between Your Ears. Before we can build, we must first understand the terrain. Before you can win the war, you must know the battlefield. And the battlefield, as we've established, is your own mind. For most people, this internal landscape is a place of anarchy. It is a chaotic, untamed wilderness where thoughts, emotions, and impulses run wild like savage beasts. They have no control, no authority. They are simply a passive observer to the chaos, a victim of their own internal state. Their focus is stolen by every notification. Their mood is dictated by every external event. Their actions are driven by the path of least resistance, the immediate gratification of the moment. This is the default state of the untrained mind, and it is a recipe for a life of mediocrity, frustration, and unrealized potential. You must see this for what it is, an unacceptable way to live. You would never allow a stranger to walk into your home and rearrange the furniture, yet you allow stray thoughts of doubt, fear, and distraction to hijack your mind and dictate the course of your day. This ends now. Your first step in training your brain to win is to accept a radical new premise. Your mind is not you. You are the conscious observer of your mind. You are the commander, the CEO, the one who stands apart from the noise and gives the orders. Your thoughts are not facts. Your emotions are not your identity. Your impulses are not commands. They are merely suggestions, data points, electrical signals firing across a network of neurons. The untrained mind believes every suggestion is a command. The thought, "I don't feel like working out," is interpreted as a direct order to skip the gym. The feeling of anxiety is seen as an undeniable truth that something is wrong. The impulse to check social media is obeyed without question. You are a slave to the whims of your own neurology. The trained mind, the winning mind, understands the difference between a suggestion and an order. It hears the thought, "I don't feel like working out," observes it without judgment and says, "Thank you for the suggestion. We are going to the gym anyway." It feels the anxiety, acknowledges it, and says, "I see you, but you are not in charge. I will proceed with my plan." It notices the impulse to get distracted and says, "Not now. We have a mission to complete." This separation, this ability to observe your own mind without being controlled by it, is the foundational skill of all mental discipline. It is the source of all true power. This is not some esoteric spiritual concept. This is a practical, trainable skill. It is the practice of mindfulness, of metacognition, thinking about your thinking. The way to build this skill is through deliberate, daily practice. Just as you lift weights to build a muscle, you must engage in exercises that strengthen your commander consciousness. The simplest and most effective exercise is intentional observation. Set a timer for just 2 minutes. Sit down, close your eyes, and your only job is to observe your own mind. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Don't judge them. Just watch them come and go like clouds passing in the sky. When you notice you've been carried away by a thought, which you will, hundreds of times, your job is not to get frustrated. Your job is to simply notice and gently bring your attention back to the role of the observer. Every time you do this, every time you catch yourself being lost in thought and you consciously return to the present moment, you have just done one repetition. You have just strengthened the muscle of your awareness. You are training your brain to understand that you are the one in charge, not the endless chatter of your internal monologue. Most people will dismiss this as simple or ineffective. They are looking for a complex hack or a magic pill. The 99% want the result without the work. The 1% understand that mastery is built on the consistent execution of the fundamentals. This simple 2-minute exercise done daily will fundamentally change your relationship with your own mind over time. It creates a space, a buffer between stimulus and response. In that space lies your freedom. In that space lies your power to choose your actions, rather than being a puppet of your impulses. This battlefield in your mind is where every victory is first won. Before you can win the promotion, you must win the battle against self-doubt. Before you can build the business, you must win the battle against procrastination. Before you can have the difficult conversation, you must win the battle against fear. Every external achievement is a direct result of an internal victory. Most people have it backward. They wait for their external world to be perfect before they allow themselves to feel calm, focused, and in control. They think, once I get that raise, I'll finally feel secure. Or, once I finish this project, I'll be able to relax. They are waiting for the external to dictate the internal. The winner does the opposite. They understand that they must first create a state of internal order, focus, and discipline, and that state of being will then create the external results they desire. They forge their internal world into a weapon, an unstoppable force of will, and then they unleash it upon their external goals. Your task is to become a master strategist of your own inner world. You must study your own patterns. When do you get distracted? What triggers your negative self-talk? What situations cause you to react emotionally? You must become a ruthless editor of your own thoughts. Is this thought serving my mission? Is it empowering me? Or is it a form of internal sabotage? If it is not serving you, you must learn to dismiss it, to starve it of the attention it needs to survive. This is not about positive thinking in a naive sense. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about strategic thinking. It's about choosing to allocate your most precious resource, your attention, only to the thoughts, ideas, and emotions that move you closer to your objective. This is the inner game. This is the war you must win every single day. It is the most important work you will ever do. Everything else you desire, the success, the wealth, the impact, is downstream from this one core discipline. So accept the role of commander, recognize the battlefield, and begin the training. Your first victory is to realize that you are not the chaos in your head. You are the one who can bring it to order. Chapter 2. Seize the morning, seize the day. How you start your day determines how you live your day. The first 60 minutes after you wake up are the most critical, high-leverage minutes of your entire day. This is the period where the tone is set, the trajectory is established, and the battle for your attention is either won or lost. Most people, the 99%, lose this battle spectacularly, and they lose it within seconds of opening their eyes. What is the very first thing they do? They reach for their phone. They immediately invite an army of chaos, distraction, and other people's agendas into their mind before it has even had a chance to fully awaken. They are flooded with emails from their boss, negative news headlines, and the curated highlight reels of other people's lives on social media. They begin their day in a state of reactive, defensive chaos. They are consuming, not creating. They are responding, not initiating. Their brain is immediately primed for distraction and anxiety. They have handed over the keys to their day to the rest of the world and are now merely a passenger. A winner's day starts differently. A winner understands that the morning is sacred. It is a golden hour that must be protected with religious ferocity. It is their time to prime their brain for victory, to calibrate their mind for focus, and to align their actions with their intentions. They do not react to the world. They prepare to impose their will upon it. This is achieved through a non-negotiable morning protocol. A morning protocol is not a vague intention like, "I'll try to wake up earlier." It is a pre-planned, pre-committed sequence of actions that you perform every single morning without exception, regardless of how you feel. It is an act of discipline that tells your brain, your body, and the universe that you are in command. Your feelings do not run the show. Your commitments do. The first rule of a winning morning protocol is this: the phone does not exist for at least the first 60 minutes of your day. This is non-negotiable. Your phone is a portal to a world of distraction and other people's priorities. You cannot win your day if you begin by serving the agendas of others. Your morning is for you. It is for sharpening your axe before you go out to chop down the trees. This single habit alone will radically transform the quality of your life. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You will feel a phantom itch, an addict's craving for that hit of new information. This is a sign of how deeply the addiction has taken hold. You must break it. Replace the phone with purpose. Your morning protocol should consist of a few key elements designed to prime your mind, body, and spirit. It doesn't need to be long or complicated. A simple, consistent 30-minute routine is infinitely more powerful than a complex 2-hour routine that you only do sporadically. The first component is hydration and movement. Your body is dehydrated after a long night's sleep. The first thing you should put into it is a large glass of water. This simple act starts the process of rehydration and gets your metabolism going. Immediately follow this with some form of movement. This doesn't have to be a full-blown workout. It can be 5 to 10 minutes of stretching, jumping jacks, push-ups, or a short walk outside. The goal is to change your physiological state. Movement creates energy. It floods your brain with oxygen and endorphins. While the 99% are groggily scrolling through their feeds, you are already creating a peak physical state. You are signaling to your body that today is a day for action, not passivity. The second component is mindfulness or silence. After priming your body, you must prime your mind. This is where you practice the skill of being the commander, as we discussed in the last chapter. This could be 2 to 10 minutes of meditation, focusing on your breath. Or it could simply be sitting in silence with a cup of coffee, deliberately not thinking about the day ahead, but just being present. The goal is to start the day from a place of calm and centeredness, not chaos. You are training your brain to find its baseline of quiet focus before the noise of the world begins. This practice builds the mental muscle required to stay calm and focused when the inevitable pressures of the day arrive. You are building an inner fortress of tranquility. The third component is intentionality. This is where you transition from being to doing. You must define what a win looks like for the day ahead. Most people drift through their days reacting to whatever comes their way. A winner is proactive. They are an architect. Take out a journal or a piece of paper and write down the 1 to 3 most important things you must accomplish today. Not the 20 things on your to-do list. The 1 to 3 critical tasks that, if completed, will make the day a success. This is your mission list. By writing it down, you are making a contract with yourself. You are telling your brain what to focus on and what to ignore. This act of defining your priorities gives you a filter for the entire day. When new requests or distractions arise, you can measure them against your mission list and ask, "Does this move me closer to my win?" If the answer is no, you have the clarity to say no. This simple morning protocol, hydrate and move, mindfulness, intentionality, can be completed in as little as 20-30 minutes, but its impact will ripple throughout your entire day. While others are stumbling into their day, dragged along by the current of reactivity, you will be starting yours with power, purpose, and a clear sense of direction. You will have already won your first and most important battle before most people have even had their first cup of coffee. You will have seized the morning, and when you consistently seize the morning, you will inevitably seize the day. Make this protocol your sacred ritual. Protect it. Do not let travel, a late night, or a bad mood derail you. Your commitment to your morning protocol is a direct reflection of your commitment to winning. Do not negotiate with your own mind. The decision has already been made. Execute the plan. Chapter 3: The Architecture of Focus. Your ability to focus is the most valuable currency you possess in the 21st century economy. The capacity to direct your attention to a single, high-value task for an extended period without distraction is a superpower. It is the skill that allows you to produce work of the highest quality and value. And yet, this superpower is under relentless assault. We live in an economy designed to systematically dismantle your attention. Your phone, your apps, your social media feeds, they are not neutral tools. They are precision-engineered weapons of mass distraction, designed by armies of behavioral scientists to hijack your brain's reward system and keep you scrolling, clicking, and consuming. Most people, the 99%, have already surrendered in this war. Their attention span is shattered. They cannot sit with a single task for more than a few minutes without feeling the irresistible pull to check their email, their phone, or some other triviality. They live in a state of perpetual, continuous partial attention, flitting from one shallow task to another, never achieving the deep concentration required for breakthrough work. They are busy, but they are not productive. Their days are a flurry of activity that produces mediocre results. To win the day, You must win the battle for your focus. This is not a matter of willpower. You cannot simply will yourself to be more focused in an environment that is designed to distract you. That's like trying to stay dry in a hurricane. Willpower is a finite resource that gets depleted throughout the day. Relying on it is a losing strategy. The winner's approach is different. They do not rely on willpower, they rely on architecture. They understand that focus is not something you have, it is something you create. It is a product of your environment. Therefore, they become ruthless architects of a world that makes focus the default state and distraction an impossibility. You must declare war on distraction. You must treat it not as a minor annoyance, but as a toxic enemy that is robbing you of your potential and your income. This war is fought on two fronts: the external environment and the internal environment. First, let's conquer your external environment. Your physical and digital workspaces must be transformed into sanctuaries of focus. Look at your desk right now. Is it cluttered with papers, old coffee mugs, and other random items? Each of those objects is a tiny visual distraction, a task residue that pulls on your attention. A clear desk is a clear mind. Your workspace should contain only the essential tools required for the task at hand. Everything else must be removed. The same principle applies with even more urgency to your digital environment. Your computer desktop should be clean. Your browser should not have 20 tabs open. But the primary enemy here is your phone. Your phone is the greatest tool for distraction ever invented. During your periods of deep work, your phone must be completely inaccessible, not on silent, not flipped over on your desk. That is an amateur move. The mere presence of your phone, even if it's off, has been scientifically shown to reduce your cognitive capacity because a part of your brain is actively working to not pick it up. You must put it in another room, lock it in a drawer, give it to a colleague, make it physically difficult to access. This single act of creating physical separation will be a game changer for your ability to concentrate. Furthermore, you must surgically remove the sources of distraction from your devices. Turn off every single notification on your phone and computer. Every banner, every badge, every buzz is an interruption that shatters your focus. It can take up to 20 minutes to regain deep concentration after even a minor interruption. You cannot afford that cost. Schedule specific times to check email and messages. Do not let them interrupt you on their schedule. You are the master of your technology, not the other way around. Once you've architected your external environment, you must build the architecture for your internal focus. This is done through a technique known as time blocking or deep work blocks. The 99% approach their day with a vague to-do list. They drift from task to task based on what feels most urgent or interesting at the moment. The winner architects their day with precision. They schedule blocks of time in their calendar for their most important, high-value tasks. A deep work block might be a 90-minute period from 9:00 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. dedicated to a single task with a single objective. During this block, you do nothing else. No email, no phone, no distractions. You are completely dedicated to the mission. These blocks are sacred appointments with your most important work. You protect them with the same ferocity you would protect a meeting with your most important client. Most people will resist this. It feels too rigid. But this structure is not a prison. It is the framework for your freedom. It ensures that your most important work gets done, instead of being pushed aside by the tyranny of the urgent. It is a proactive system for winning, rather than a reactive system for surviving. Within these deep work blocks, you must also train your brain to resist the internal pull of distraction. Your mind will wander. You will suddenly feel the urge to research something irrelevant or think about an unrelated problem. This is normal. The key is how you respond. The amateur gives in. The professional has a system. Keep a distraction pad, a piece of paper, or a text file next to you. When an unrelated thought or urge arises, quickly write it down on the pad and immediately return to your primary task. This act acknowledges the thought without giving it power. You are telling your brain, "I see you. We will deal with you later. Right now, we are focused on the mission." Becoming a master of focus is not an overnight process. It is a training regimen. You are rewiring a brain that has been conditioned for distraction for years. Start small. Begin with a single 30-minute deep work block each day where you completely eliminate distractions. As your focus muscle gets stronger, you can extend these blocks to 60 or 90 minutes. This is the work that matters. This is the work that creates extraordinary value. While the rest of the world is drowning in a sea of digital noise, you will be in your sanctuary of focus, producing work that is deeper, faster, and of a higher quality than you ever thought possible. Stop blaming your lack of focus on a lack of willpower. Take responsibility. Become the architect. Design an environment that makes focus inevitable. Your future depends on it. Chapter 4: Forging Mental Armor, the Power of Resilience. The path to victory is not a straight line. It is a journey filled with obstacles, setbacks, and failures. You will be rejected. You will make mistakes. You will fall short of your goals. This is not a possibility. It is a guarantee. The defining factor between those who ultimately win and those who remain stuck in mediocrity is not whether they encounter adversity, but how they respond to it. Most people, the 99%, are mentally fragile. A single setback can derail them for days, weeks, or even permanently. A critical comment from their boss sends them into a spiral of self-doubt. A failed project convinces them they are not good enough. They interpret failure as a final judgment on their character and their ability. Their ego is brittle. When it cracks, they crumble. They see adversity as a stop sign, a signal from the universe that they should give up. A winner's mind is different. It is not fragile. It is not even just resilient, which means the ability to bounce back to the original shape. A winner's mind is antifragile. It is forged in the fires of adversity. It doesn't just survive challenges, it gets stronger because of them. Just as your immune system gets stronger after fighting off a virus, an antifragile mind uses setbacks as a catalyst for growth, learning, and increased capability. Failure is not a judgment, it is data. This is the fundamental mindset shift you must make. You must learn to separate your ego from the outcome. The result of a project is not a reflection of your inherent worth as a person. It is simply the result of a particular strategy executed at a particular time. If the result is not what you wanted, the only logical response is to analyze the data, extract the lesson, adjust the strategy, and try again. The 99% personalize failure. They think, I am a failure. The 1% analyze failure. They think, the strategy failed. What did I learn? This emotional detachment is a superpower. It allows you to get back in the game immediately, armed with new wisdom, while others are still licking their wounds and wallowing in self-pity. To build this mental armor, you must consciously practice the art of reframing. Reframing is the ability to take any negative event and consciously choose a more empowering interpretation of it. Your brain will automatically offer you a disempowering, negative frame. It's a survival mechanism. Your job as the commander of your mind is to reject that initial interpretation and install a new one. For example, you get passed over for a promotion. The automatic fragile frame is, I'm not good enough. My boss doesn't value me. My career is stalling. This frame leads to feelings of resentment and helplessness. The antifragile reframe is, this is valuable feedback. There is clearly a gap between my current skill set and what is required for the next level. This is an opportunity for me to identify those gaps and create a plan to master them. This rejection is a roadmap for my growth. Do you feel the difference? The first frame paralyzes you. The second one empowers you and gives you a clear path forward. You must become an active participant in the meaning-making process of your life. Nothing has any inherent meaning except the meaning you give it. You are the one who decides whether a setback is a catastrophe or an education. This is not about lying to yourself or engaging in blind positive thinking. It is about strategic interpretation. It is about choosing the story that serves your ultimate mission. Another critical component of mental armor is embracing the concept of productive failure. Most people are terrified of failure, so they play it safe. They only take on tasks they know they can succeed at. They live their lives in the shallow end of the pool. This is a recipe for stagnation. Winners understand that if you are not failing, you are not pushing your limits. You are not growing. They actively seek out challenges that are just beyond their current level of competence. They understand that the process of struggling, failing, and adapting is the very mechanism of skill acquisition and growth. They run towards the fire because they know the fire is what forges the steel. You must start to see discomfort and struggle not as something to be avoided, but as a sign that you are on the right path. When you feel that friction, when you feel that strain, that is the feeling of your comfort zone expanding. That is the feeling of getting stronger. You must learn to fall in love with that feeling. So, how do you practice this? You must deliberately take on small challenges that force you to fail. Try a new workout that is incredibly difficult. Attempt to learn a skill that feels impossible at first. Give a presentation on a topic you are still learning. The goal is not to succeed. The goal is to experience the feeling of failure in a low-stakes environment and practice your reframing skills. The goal is to inoculate yourself against the fear of failure. Each time you fail and realize that you survived, that the world didn't end, you are building your resilience muscle. You are teaching your brain that failure is not a threat. It is simply a part of the process. This mental armor is what will allow you to play the long game. While others are knocked out of the game by the first punch, you will be able to take blow after blow, getting stronger and smarter with each one. You will become unstoppable not because you never fall, but because you always get back up, armed with new knowledge and a hardened resolve. Stop praying for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. Stop avoiding failure. Start using it as your most powerful tool for growth. Forge your mind into a weapon. Build your mental armor, piece by piece, through the deliberate practice of reframing and productive failure. This is how you become unbreakable. Chapter 5. The Dopamine Trap, Reclaiming Your Motivation Engine. Motivation is the fuel for action. Without it, even the best-laid plans will gather dust. But what is motivation really? And why does it feel so abundant one day and completely absent the next? The 99% treat motivation as a mystical force that comes and goes as it pleases. They wait for motivation to strike before they take action. They say, "I'll start when I feel motivated." This is a fundamentally flawed approach that leaves them at the mercy of their ever-changing emotional states. They are waiting for a train that may never come. The winner understands that motivation is not mystical, it is chemical. It is a biological process governed by a powerful neurotransmitter in your brain called dopamine. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure molecule. It's more accurate to call it the motivation molecule. It is released not when you achieve a reward, but in anticipation of a potential reward. It is the chemical that drives you to seek, to strive, and to pursue goals. It is the engine of your ambition. And right now, your engine is being hijacked. We live in a world that has been perfectly engineered to exploit your dopamine system for profit. Your smartphone, social media apps, video games, sugary foods, and endless streaming content are what I call cheap dopamine. They provide an instant, easy, and intense hit of dopamine with little to no effort. Every notification, every like, every new video is a tiny, unpredictable reward that keeps your brain hooked and begging for more. The problem is that your brain has a baseline level of dopamine. When you constantly flood it with these high-intensity, low-effort stimuli, your brain adapts by down-regulating your dopamine receptors. It becomes desensitized. This means that normal, healthy, effortful activities, like working on a difficult project, reading a book, or exercising, no longer provide enough of a dopamine hit to seem rewarding. They feel boring, difficult, and unmotivating. You have trained your brain to crave instant gratification. You have fried your motivation circuits. This is the dopamine trap, and it is the hidden force behind the epidemic of procrastination, apathy, and lack of drive that plagues modern society. You feel unmotivated not because you are lazy, but because your brain has been rewired to find the real work of life unrewarding. To train your brain to win, You must reclaim your motivation engine. You must break your addiction to cheap dopamine and resensitize your brain to the rewards of effortful accomplishment. This is achieved through a process known as a dopamine detox. A dopamine detox is a period of time where you deliberately abstain from all sources of cheap dopamine. This means no social media, no YouTube, no video games, no junk food, no mindless internet surfing. The duration can vary from a single day to a full week. The goal is to starve your brain of the intense, unnatural stimulation it has become accustomed to. This will be difficult. The first day will feel incredibly boring and you will experience intense cravings. This is the withdrawal. This is a sign that the process is working. You must push through this discomfort. During this detox, you should only engage in natural dopamine activities. These are activities that are difficult, require effort, and provide a sense of accomplishment. Examples include exercising, reading a physical book, learning a new skill, meditating, spending time in nature, having a deep conversation with someone in person, or working on a challenging project. At first, these activities will feel unsatisfying. Your brain is still screaming for its cheap fix. But as you persist, something amazing begins to happen. Your dopamine receptors begin to upregulate. Your brain starts to resensitize itself. The boredom you feel is actually your brain's motivation system resetting itself. After the detox period, you will notice a profound shift. The act of sitting down to work on a difficult task will suddenly feel more rewarding. The satisfaction of completing a workout will be more potent. You will find joy and motivation in the effort itself, not just the outcome. You have recalibrated your brain to find hard things rewarding again. Now, a full detox may not be practical for everyone on a regular basis. The key is to implement the principles of it into your daily life. You must become a conscious curator of your dopamine intake. You must schedule periods of your day, particularly the morning, where you are completely disconnected from cheap dopamine sources. Protect your first few hours of the day for deep work and effortful activities. Do not give your brain its fix of social media or email until you have first accomplished something meaningful. You must also learn to use dopamine strategically to fuel your long-term goals. The most powerful way to do this is to stop rewarding the outcome and start rewarding the effort. The 99% only celebrate when they hit the big goal. The problem is that the big goal can be months or years away, and the brain needs more frequent rewards to stay motivated. The winner learns to get a dopamine hit from the process itself. You must consciously tell yourself, I am the kind of person who shows up and does the hard work. When you finish your workout, don't just move on. Take a moment to consciously acknowledge your effort. Say to yourself, I did it. I kept the promise I made to myself. This act of self-acknowledgement and rewarding the effort releases a small amount of dopamine, which reinforces the behavior and makes you more likely to do it again tomorrow. You are creating a positive feedback loop of discipline and motivation. Stop being a passive victim of your own brain chemistry. Understand the game that is being played for your attention and your motivation. Break free from the dopamine trap. Undergo a reset, curate your inputs, and learn to reward the effort, not just the outcome. When you become the master of your own dopamine system, you become the master of your own motivation. And a person with limitless, internally generated motivation is an unstoppable force. Chapter 6: Intentional Action, From Procrastination to Execution. There exists a vast and tragic chasm in the lives of most people. It is the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. They have the book, they've watched the seminar, they know the strategy. They can tell you exactly what they should be doing, but they don't do it. This is the hell of procrastination. It is the gap between intention and action, and it is where dreams, ambitions, and potential go to die. The 99% live in this gap. They are professional planners, expert researchers, and amateur doers. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling of readiness. Of course, perfect never arrives. So they remain stuck, paralyzed by analysis, their potential locked away behind a wall of inaction. Procrastination is not a character flaw. You are not a lazy person. Procrastination is a brain training problem. It is a conditioned response to a specific trigger. The trigger is a task that makes you feel some form of discomfort. It might be boring, frustrating, difficult, or ambiguous. Your brain, in its effort to protect you from this discomfort, has learned a simple loop. See uncomfortable task, feel negative emotion, seek an immediate distraction, like checking your phone to get a temporary feeling of relief. This loop, repeated over and over, becomes an unconscious habit. You have trained your brain to run away from hard things. To win the day, you must break this loop. You must retrain your brain to move towards the discomfort, to close the gap between intention and action, and to become a master of execution. This is not about finding a magical burst of willpower. It is about building a system that makes action the most logical and easy choice. The first and most powerful tool in this system is the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule states, if a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Don't write it down. Don't put it on a list. Just do it. This applies to things like answering an email, washing a dish, or putting away a tool. This simple rule prevents small tasks from piling up and creating a feeling of overwhelming clutter, both physically and mentally. But the real power of the rule is its application to larger tasks. For any new habit or large project you are procrastinating on, the first step must be something you can do in under 2 minutes. Want to start a workout habit? The first step is not go to the gym for an hour. The first step is put on your workout clothes. That's it. Anyone can do that. Want to write a book? The first step is not write the first chapter. The first step is open a new document and write one sentence. The secret here is that you are not trying to achieve the goal in that moment. You are trying to overcome the inertia of inaction. The brain's biggest resistance is at the very beginning of a task. The 2-minute rule is designed to make starting so ridiculously easy that your brain can't say no. Once you start, Newton's first law of motion takes over. An object in motion stays in motion. Often, after putting on your workout clothes, you'll find yourself actually doing the workout. After writing one sentence, you might write a whole paragraph. The goal is to master the art of starting. The outcome will take care of itself. The second tool is to break down your intimidatingly large tasks into laughably small components. The 99% look at a big project and see a giant, overwhelming mountain. Their brain freezes. The winner sees not a mountain, but a series of small, individual steps. They take a task like build a new website and break it down into its smallest possible actions. 1. Research 5 competitor websites. 2. Choose a color palette. 3. Write the headline for the home page. Each of these is a concrete, non-intimidating action item. You are not building a website. You are just researching 5 competitors. This approach bypasses the brain's overwhelm response and allows you to build momentum one small win at a time. The third tool is to create a launch sequence. Just like a rocket has a pre-launch checklist, you need a pre-work ritual to signal to your brain that it's time to enter a state of focus and execution. This could be as simple as clearing your desk, pouring a glass of water, turning on a specific playlist of instrumental music, and then opening the document you need to work on. This ritual, when practiced consistently, becomes a powerful psychological trigger. It's like flipping a switch. The ritual tells your brain, the time for distraction is over. The time for execution has begun. It automates the process of getting started, removing the need for conscious thought or willpower. Finally, you must learn to divorce your actions from your feelings. The 99% operate on a feel-act model. They wait to feel good, motivated, or inspired before they act. This is a recipe for inconsistency and failure. The winner operates on an act-feel model. They act first, regardless of how they feel. They understand that action is the cause of motivation, not the result of it. They show up, they do the work, and the feeling of motivation and accomplishment comes as a byproduct of their action. You must treat your commitments like a professional. A surgeon doesn't show up to the operating room and say, "I just don't feel like it today." They perform because it is their job. You must adopt this same professional mindset towards your own goals. Your feelings are irrelevant. Your commitment is what matters. Execute the plan. This is the essence of becoming a master of execution. It is about systems, not willpower. It is about making starting easy. It is about breaking things down into manageable steps. It is about creating triggers that launch you into action. And it is about fundamentally detaching your performance from your fleeting emotional states. Stop waiting. The perfect moment will never come. The only moment you have is now. Take that one small 2-minute step. That is how you close the gap. That is how you win. Chapter 7. The Language of Winners, Mastering Your Self-Talk. There is a conversation happening inside your head 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a constant stream of thoughts, judgments, and interpretations. This internal monologue, your self-talk, is the single most influential force in your life. It is the narrator of your reality. It is the script that dictates your confidence, your resilience, and your actions. Most people, the 99%, are not in control of this narrator. The voice in their head is a harsh, relentless critic. It is the voice of doubt, fear, and limitation. When they make a mistake, it says, "You're an idiot." When they face a challenge, it says, "You're going to fail." When they achieve something, it says, "You just got lucky." They walk through life with an internal enemy, a saboteur who is constantly undermining their efforts and poisoning their self-esteem. They would never tolerate a friend speaking to them that way, yet they allow this internal abuse to continue, unchecked, every single day. A winner understands that their self-talk is not an uncontrollable phenomenon. It is a programmable skill. They know that they can, with conscious effort and training, fire their inner critic and hire an inner coach. They become the deliberate author of their own internal script. They learn to speak the language of winners, a language of empowerment, resilience, and unwavering self-belief. This is not about delusional positive affirmations. It's not about looking in the mirror and telling yourself you're a genius if you haven't done the work. This is about strategic, evidence-based self-talk that is grounded in reality and designed to produce a peak performance state. The first step to mastering your self-talk is awareness. You cannot change a script you don't know you are reading. You must begin by simply listening to the voice in your head without judgment. Throughout the day, make a habit of pausing and asking, "What am I saying to myself right now?" Pay attention to your internal response to events. When you get stuck in traffic, what is the tone of your self-talk? When a colleague criticizes your work, what story do you immediately tell yourself? At first, you will be shocked by the negativity and lack of support from your own mind. Do not get discouraged. This awareness is the first victory. You are shining a light on the saboteur. Once you are aware of the negative pattern, the next step is to challenge and reframe it. This is a technique called cognitive reframing. When you catch a negative, disempowering thought, you must treat it like a prosecutor cross-examining a witness. You must question its validity. The thought says, "I'll never be able to finish this project, it's too hard." You must challenge it with evidence. Is it really true that I'll never be able to finish it? Or is it just that I'm facing a difficult part right now? What is one small step I could take? Haven't I completed difficult projects before? You are using logic to dismantle an irrational, emotional thought. After challenging the negative thought, you must replace it with a more empowering, strategic one. The replacement shouldn't be an outlandish lie. It should be a statement of intent and capability. Instead of "I'll never finish this," you replace it with, "This is challenging, and I am capable of figuring out challenging things. I will focus on the next logical step and I will make progress." This new thought is not a guarantee of success, but it is a declaration of agency. It shifts you from a victim mindset to a problem-solver mindset. Another powerful technique is to shift your linguistic patterns from deterministic to malleable. The 99% use a fixed, permanent language to describe themselves. "I am bad at math." "I am not a creative person." "I am a procrastinator." These "I am" statements create a fixed identity. They are a self-imposed prison sentence. The winner uses a language of growth and process. Instead of "I am bad at math," they say, "I am currently working on improving my math skills." Instead of "I am not creative," they say, "I am looking for ways to develop my creativity." This simple shift from I am to I am becoming or I am working on opens up the possibility of change. It transforms a fixed trait into a trainable skill. You must also become a master of your own pre-game and post-game self-talk. Before a challenging event, a presentation, a difficult conversation, a workout, what do you say to yourself? The amateur focuses on all the things that could go wrong. The winner runs a highlight reel in their mind. They focus on their preparation. They remind themselves of past successes. Their self-talk is a pre-game pep talk. I am prepared for this. I have done the work. I will execute the plan. Similarly, after an event, how do you debrief with yourself? The amateur fixates on their mistakes. They replay their errors over and over. The winner practices constructive self-evaluation. They ask, what went well? What can I improve for next time? They extract the lessons and then they let it go. They do not allow a single performance to define their identity. Your self-talk is a habit. It has been grooved into your neural pathways over years. Changing it requires consistent, deliberate practice. Be patient with yourself, but be relentless in your practice. Every time you catch a negative thought and reframe it, you are weakening the old neural pathway and strengthening a new one. You are literally rewiring your brain. Start today. Become the guardian at the gate of your own mind. Allow only the thoughts that strengthen, empower, and align with your mission to pass. Your inner coach is waiting for you to give it the microphone. The voice in your head will either be your greatest asset or your greatest liability. The choice is yours. Chapter 8: Emotional Alchemy, Turning Reactivity into Power. Emotions are the most powerful force in the human experience. They can fuel acts of incredible courage and creativity, or they can trigger cycles of destructive and self-sabotaging behavior. For most people, the 99% emotions are like the weather. They just happen to them. A surge of anger, a wave of anxiety, a cloud of sadness. These states arrive unannounced and they dictate actions and decisions. They are emotionally reactive. When they feel angry, they lash out. When they feel anxious, they avoid. When they feel sad, they withdraw. They are a puppet, and their emotions are pulling the strings. This emotional reactivity is a massive barrier to winning the day. It makes you unpredictable, unreliable, and incapable of consistent high performance. You cannot build a life of purpose and discipline on a foundation of emotional chaos. A winner approaches emotions differently. They understand that emotions are not commands, they are information. They are signals from your body and your brain. Anger might be a signal that a boundary has been crossed. Anxiety might be a signal that you are unprepared for a future event. Sadness might be a signal that you have experienced a loss. A winner does not suppress their emotions, nor do they let their emotions control them. They practice what I call emotional alchemy. They take the raw, chaotic energy of an emotion and they transform it into focused, purposeful action. They turn reactivity into power. The first step in this process is to develop emotional literacy. You must learn to accurately label what you are feeling. Most people have a very limited emotional vocabulary. They are either good, bad, or stressed. This is not precise enough. You must get specific. Are you angry or are you frustrated? Are you anxious or are you excited? Are you sad or are you just disappointed? The act of putting a precise label on an emotion is incredibly powerful. It moves the experience from the reactive, emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, to the thinking, logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. This simple act creates a small space between you and the emotion, giving you back a measure of control. The mantra is, you have to name it to tame it. Once you've labeled the emotion, the next step is to investigate its message. Instead of being swept away by the feeling, you get curious. You ask, why is this emotion here? What is it trying to tell me? If you are feeling frustrated with a project, the message might be that your current strategy isn't working and you need to try a new approach. If you are feeling anxious about a presentation, the message might be that you need to prepare more thoroughly. You are treating the emotion as a consultant, not a dictator. It is providing you with valuable data that you can use to make better decisions. The 99% are afraid of their negative emotions. They try to numb them with distraction, food, alcohol, social media. This is a losing strategy. The emotion doesn't go away, it just goes underground where it continues to influence your behavior in subconscious ways. The winner turns towards their emotions. They have the courage to sit with the discomfort and listen to the message. This brings us to the alchemy itself, the transformation of emotional energy into productive fuel. Every emotion carries a powerful energetic charge. Your job is to channel that energy towards your goals, not away from them. Let's say you feel angry after receiving unfair criticism. The reactive response is to fire back a nasty email or complain to a coworker. This is a destructive use of that energy. The alchemical response is to say, okay, I have this surge of intense energy. I am going to channel it into my workout and set a new personal record. Or I am going to channel it into my work and prove them wrong by producing an undeniable result. You are harnessing the raw power of the anger and aiming it at a productive target. Feeling anxious and restless, don't scroll your phone. Channel that nervous energy into cleaning your entire apartment or brainstorming 20 new ideas for your business. You are transforming the jittery energy of anxiety into the focused energy of action. This requires practice. A powerful technique is the physiological interrupt. When you feel a strong negative emotion beginning to take over, you must immediately change your physical state. Stand up, go for a brisk walk, do 10 push-ups, splash cold water on your face. It is very difficult to maintain a state of intense anger or anxiety when your body is in motion. This physical shift interrupts the emotional feedback loop and gives you the crucial few seconds you need to engage your logical brain and begin the process of labeling, investigating, and channeling. This is not about becoming a robot, devoid of emotion. It is about becoming emotionally intelligent. It is about developing a mature, effective relationship with your own internal world. It is about realizing that your emotions are not your enemies. They are a powerful source of energy that can be used to fuel your greatest achievements. Stop being a victim of your own feelings. Start becoming an alchemist. Learn to label, investigate, and channel. Turn the lead of emotional reactivity into the gold of purposeful action. This is how you build an unshakable inner foundation, one that allows you to perform at your best, no matter what internal storms may come. Chapter 9. The Power of the Deliberate Pause. We live in a culture that worships speed. Faster is seen as better. Immediate responses are praised. We are conditioned to react instantly to every email, every message, every stimulus that comes our way. This cult of immediacy is a trap. It keeps us in a perpetual state of reactivity, making shallow, short-sighted decisions driven by impulse rather than wisdom. The 99% live in this trap. Their entire day is a series of knee-jerk reactions. An email comes in, they react. A notification pops up, they react. A colleague makes a comment, they react. There is no space, no thought, no intention between the stimulus and their response. They are living on autopilot, and their autopilot is programmed for distraction and mediocrity. The single greatest skill that separates a winner from the masses is the mastery of the deliberate pause. It is the conscious ability to create a moment of space between a stimulus and your response. In that small gap of time, a fraction of a second, lies all of your power. In that space, you can move from unconscious reaction to conscious choice. In that space, you can engage your higher-level thinking instead of your primitive, emotional brain. In that space, you win. The deliberate pause is the practical application of everything we have discussed so far. It is the moment where you observe your thoughts, regulate your emotions, and choose an action that aligns with your ultimate goals. It is the ultimate tool of the commander of the mind. This is a skill that must be trained. Your brain is wired for immediate reaction. It's a survival instinct left over from a time when a rustle in the bushes required an instant response, not a thoughtful consideration. To override this ancient wiring, you must practice deliberately. The simplest way to begin training the pause is with your breath. The breath is the remote control for your nervous system. When you are stressed or reactive, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. When you are calm and focused, your breathing is slow and deep. You can consciously use your breath to shift your physiological and psychological state. Here is the exercise. The next time you feel a strong impulse to react, whether it's anger at a driver who cut you off, anxiety from an urgent email, or the craving to check your phone, you must implement the pause. Stop. Before you act, before you speak, take one single, deliberate, slow breath. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4 and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. That's it. One breath. That 5 to 6 seconds is all it takes to interrupt the reactive pattern. It is the space you need for your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, to come online and override the emotional amygdala. In that moment of pause, you must ask yourself a strategic question. The question will vary depending on the situation, but it should be designed to shift you from a reactive to a proactive mindset. If you're angry, the question might be, what is the most effective and professional way to handle this? If you're anxious, what is the next small action I can take to move forward? If you're tempted by a distraction, Will this action move me closer to my goals for the day or further away? This combination of a deep breath and a strategic question is your 1-2 punch against reactivity. It is a simple but profoundly powerful tool. The deliberate pause applies to every area of your life. In a negotiation, when you receive a lowball offer, the amateur reacts emotionally. The professional pauses, takes a breath, and responds calmly and strategically. In a conversation, when someone says something you disagree with, the amateur immediately interrupts to argue. The professional pauses, listens completely, and then formulates a thoughtful response. When you hit a roadblock in a project, the amateur feels overwhelmed and immediately seeks a distraction. The professional pauses, steps back, and analyzes the problem from a different perspective. You must integrate this practice into your digital life as well. Before you open your email inbox, pause. Take a breath and remind yourself of your intention. I am here to process my email efficiently, not to get sidetracked. Before you open a social media app, pause. Ask yourself, why am I opening this? Am I being intentional, or am I just seeking a mindless escape? This practice will not only make you more effective, it will dramatically reduce your stress levels. Most of our stress comes from the feeling of being out of control, of being constantly pulled in different directions. The deliberate pause is the ultimate act of reclaiming control. It is a declaration that you are the one who decides your actions, not your external circumstances or your internal impulses. Like any other form of training, this will feel unnatural at first. You will forget to do it. You will react on instinct. Do not get discouraged. Every time you remember to take the pause, even if it's after you've already reacted, it is a win. You are building the neural pathway. You are strengthening the muscle. Over time, it will become your new default. The space between stimulus and response will grow wider. Your ability to make conscious, aligned choices will become second nature. The 99% are living their lives in fast forward, reacting their way to a future they did not choose. You must choose to live differently. You must choose to slow down to speed up. Master the art of the deliberate pause. It is the secret weapon of the wise, the focused, and the victorious. In that silence, you will find your power. Chapter 10: The Winner's Protocol, a System for Daily Victory. We have covered the battlefield, the strategies, and the weapons. You now have the full arsenal required to train your brain to win. You know the importance of a morning protocol, the architecture of focus, the armor of resilience, the science of motivation, the system for execution, the language of winners, the alchemy of emotion, and the power of the pause. The final, crucial step is to integrate all of these concepts into a single, cohesive system. Knowledge without integration is just trivia. A collection of tactics without a strategy is chaos. The 99% will consume this information, feel inspired, and then try to implement 1 or 2 ideas haphazardly. Their efforts will be sporadic and short-lived, and they will soon revert to their old patterns. The winner, the 1%, understands that lasting change is not about tactics. It is about building a system. They don't rely on memory or motivation. They build a protocol, a daily checklist of non-negotiable behaviors that ensures they are consistently training their brain for victory. This is your winner's protocol. This is not a rigid one-size-fits-all prescription. It is a framework that you must customize and adapt to your own life and goals. However, it should be built around three core phases of the day: the morning prime, the deep work execution, and the evening review. This three-part structure provides a rhythm for your day, ensuring you start strong, perform at your peak, and learn from your results. Phase 1 is the morning prime, which we've discussed. This is your non-negotiable start to the day. For 30 to 60 minutes, you disconnect from the world and connect with yourself. The components are: 1. Hydration and movement to energize your body. 2. Mindfulness or silence to center your mind. 3. Intentionality, where you define your 1-3 critical wins for the day. This is the foundation. If you win this first phase, you are setting yourself up with an almost unfair advantage for the rest of the day. Phase 2 is the deep work execution. This is the heart of your productive day. This phase is built on the principles of focus architecture and intentional action. During your peak energy hours, which for most people is the morning, you schedule 1 to 3 deep work blocks. These are 60 to 90-minute single-tasking sessions dedicated to your most important wins for the day. During these blocks, you are unreachable, phone in another room, notifications off. This is your sacred time for creating high value. Between these blocks, you can handle shallow work, emails, calls, administrative tasks, but you must fiercely protect these deep work sessions. This is where your most significant progress is made. Throughout this phase, you are actively practicing the skills we've covered. When you feel the pull of procrastination, you use the 2-minute rule to get started. When you feel overwhelmed, you break the task down into smaller steps. When your inner critic starts to speak, you challenge and reframe its language. When you feel an emotional reaction, you use the deliberate pause and your breath to regain control. This is the active training ground. You are not just working, you are consciously practicing being a winner. Phase 3 is the evening review. This is perhaps the most overlooked but most critical part of the protocol. The 99% just let their day end. They transition from work to passive consumption, TV, social media, without a second thought. The winner knows that the day is not over until the lessons have been extracted. Your evening review should be brief, no more than 10-15 minutes. It consists of 3 simple questions you ask yourself in a journal. 1. What went well today? What were my wins? This is crucial. You must train your brain to recognize and celebrate progress. This reinforces winning behavior and builds momentum. It is a direct application of rewarding the effort, which fuels your dopamine system for the next day. 2. What didn't go as planned and what did I learn? This is where you practice anti-fragility. You are not dwelling on failure, you are extracting data. You are turning every setback into a lesson. This ensures that you never truly lose. You either win or you learn. 3. What will I do differently tomorrow to improve? Based on your lessons, you make a small, concrete adjustment to your plan or your system for the next day. This creates a powerful, daily feedback loop of continuous improvement. This is the engine of compounding growth. This three-phase protocol, prime, execute, review, is your system for victory. It transforms your day from a series of random events into a structured training session for your brain. It replaces chaos with order, reactivity with proactivity, and stagnation with growth. You must commit to this protocol. Write it down. Put it somewhere you will see it every day. Treat it as a non-negotiable part of your professional life. There will be days you don't feel like it. Those are the most important days to do it. Every time you execute your protocol when you don't feel like it, you are casting a powerful vote for your new identity. You are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who honors my commitments. I am a professional. I am a winner. This is the culmination of our entire journey. It's the point where knowledge becomes a living, breathing practice. The gap between the person you are and the person you want to become is bridged by your daily habits. Your life tomorrow will be the sum of the protocols you execute today. Stop hopping for a better life. Start building a better system. The winner's protocol is your blueprint. The tools are in your hands. The battle is waiting. Go and win the day. The closing. The training manual is now complete. The principles, strategies, and protocols have been laid out before you. The path from the chaotic, reactive mind of the 99% to the focused, disciplined, and victorious mind of the 1% is now crystal clear. But the map is not the territory. Reading this transcript, hearing these words, will change absolutely nothing in your life if it is not followed by immediate, consistent, and relentless action. The vast majority of people will finish this, feel a fleeting sense of inspiration, and then allow the inertia of their old life to pull them back into the familiar patterns of distraction and mediocrity. They will remain a spectator in the arena of their own life. But you are not them. You have made it to this final moment for a reason. There is a commander within you who is tired of the chaos, tired of the excuses, tired of living at a fraction of your true potential. That commander is ready to take charge. The choice you face right now is the most important choice you will ever make. It is the choice between the comfort of your old self and the magnificent discomfort of your becoming. It is the choice between being a slave to your impulses and being the master of your destiny. The victory you seek is not in some distant future. It is not a destination you will one day arrive at. Victory is a daily practice. It is a choice you make this morning, this afternoon, this very moment. It is in the decision to put your phone in another room. It is in the courage to take that first 2-minute action. It is in the discipline to take one conscious breath before you react. This is where the war is won. Not in grand, heroic gestures, but in the million small, unglamorous decisions you make when no one is watching. This is the path to earning your own self-respect, which is the only form of validation that truly matters. I want you to look ahead. Visualize the person you will be in 1 year if you commit to this training. See the calm in their eyes even amidst chaos. Feel the unshakable focus they bring to their work. Witness the resilience with which they meet every challenge. Hear the empowered, confident voice of their internal coach. That person is not a fantasy. That person is a promise. It is the person you were always meant to be, waiting to be forged in the fires of your daily discipline. You are no longer someone who hopes to be focused. You are a practitioner of deep work. You are no longer someone who wishes they were resilient. You are a student of anti-fragility. You are no longer a victim of your thoughts and emotions. You are the commander of the battlefield between your ears. This is your new identity. Claim it. Live it. Become it. The training is over. The real battle begins now. Go win your day.